Rey Calderon with the Filipino Flash, Nonito Donaire. How you doing, champ?
Man, I am great, brother. I am great.
How did you enjoy those fights tonight? Great fights.
The fight was amazing. You know, the MVP just makes a lot of great shows, man, with great fighters. You know, undefeated fighters. I mean, just fighters competing each other. That's what MVP does. And tonight's fight was just incredible, especially the main event. You know, coming down from the knockdown and getting back up and winning the fight.
It was a tough fight for, Pero. Pero, he came through, he got dropped, he faced adversity. It was a very tough fight for him. It was a very close fight. I thought it could have been a draw. How did you score the fight?
I got it the same. There was no draw when Pero won all the round except for the ones he got dropped in.
So you agree with the scorecards? They were a little wide, don't you think?
No, hell no.
Huh?
How are you winning the fight when you're not throwing the punches? Yes, when you drop the dude, then take three points off of that. Take 3 points. But you didn't win all the rounds. He won all the rounds except for that round. So how are you going to give him a score when he didn't win the round? Just because he dropped him twice doesn't mean he was winning the rounds, right? Yes, I give him that round. That's it. Don't get me wrong. Navarre was a tremendous fighter. Great respect for him. He has that true Mexican heart, true Mexican courage, and definitely love to see him more in shape. But Pero did his job today, and I agree definitely with the scorecard, 100%.
All right. Corey Marksman put on a great show for the fans. Hometown, Orlando. What do you think about that fight and how
Corey has developed tremendously. He had a guy who was live. He had a guy who was willing to fight. It showcased Corey Marksman's skills. The movements, the power, just everything else that he needed to do. But the guy's style was made for him. And he looked good. He looked great today. I'd like to see him move up in competition. I think he has the great skills. And I was very impressed with Kaipo. Kaipo Gallegos was impressive today. And then Nat Dub, against a fighter who was also as skillful as her. It was a great night. It was definitely a great night of fights.
Definitely better show of fights than it was for the Riyadh season cards. That wasn't really entertaining for the fans. We were very hyped for those back-to-back nights, and they disappointed us.
Well, sometimes we have an expectation of things, but tonight's fight was just on a different level because both fighters, or all the fighters, show courage, show skills, and the will to win. While the previous fights where they were
duds.
We had a lot of expectation, and when you have a lot of expectation and it doesn't show up, we tend to be very disappointed. And it was a very disappointing night for them because we wanted more. But that's us wanting to be entertained.
Now, Nonito Donaire, the monster saved the weekend that weekend. Inoue, he went to Las Vegas, he showed out, he got dropped, he came back, he faced adversity. You've been in the ring with that man twice. How did you see that performance of a great fight with another pro box fighter?
He showed up. That's the thing, was he showed up, and he showed a lot of people not only that he's vulnerable, but he has the will to win as well. That it don't matter if you drop me, I'm gonna still knock you out. That's pretty much what he did, and you got to give a big credit and respect to Cardenas. And then Espinosa in the co-main event. I mean, I was very impressed on how he fought.
Yeah, the whole card was a spectacular card by Top Rank. MJ is going to be fighting Inoue. That's going to be a great fight. It's supposed to be happening in September if he gets past his next fight in MJ in May. What do you think about that fight between MJ and Inoue?
I think he's going to give Inoue a run for his money. I mean, MJ southpaw, and we see that Inoue gets caught with southpaw or left hook or overhand left, so something that we see in him was vulnerable to that. Now, is he able to adjust? I mean, the guy's a fighter too, so we'll see. I think it's gonna be a good fight.
Now, what's going on with you? You coming back into the ring?
Yes, sir. I'm coming back. We're getting our plans together, but definitely coming back real soon.
It's gonna be a bantamweight?
Yes, sir. It'll be a bantamweight fight, and it'll be a special fight.
Now, I know you say you'll never fight Bam. You got a lot of respect for him. He's fighting in Texas against another world champion in a unification match. What do you think about that fight?
Bam's a special kid. Bam's a special guy. he's done and showed what he's capable of, and I expect him to do the same like he's done every time he stepped in that ring.
Are you looking at guys like Estrada to come back against, or somebody like Chocolito?
We already asked them that none of them wanted to fight me, you know. We had set up a fight with them, but unfortunately at the end of the day, they didn't want that fight. So it is what it is. On to the next.
On to the next. All right, champ, thanks for your time.
Thank you,
God
brother.
bless. Have a great night.